Hey, Stephanie here. This is Spark Lab 1, I guess. Spark Module Lab 1, part 2 of it. So the queries part of it. The data set that I chose was the World Cup matches from Kaggle. And what I do is I obviously read it in the format CSV. Um, It has a header. I am inferring the schema because it has different struct types. As you can see here, they're different than just strings. And then I'm going to show it. And my first query is going to group them by their city and then find the max attendance per city. So, so here's the data set itself, what it looks like. And then if I scroll down a bit, here it is. Here's the city and here's the max attendance per city. And it only shows the first 20. The next query is it's getting the data frame. So it filters the first one by its home team goals. So it wants the highest scores in total because it looks at away and home. So greater than 3. And then the second one is going to just get attendance that's greater than 4,000. So these are my first two data frames. Then these two data frames are joined together by their home team. And this distinct makes sure that there's no duplicates. I probably don't need that. And then I show it here. So as you can see, it joined the tables together. So the table's extra long. Notice that this is year over here. And then if we keep going, you'll see that it just, you have your away team initials and your referee again, and the away team, the home, and the stage and the stadium. So you get all of these again. See the date, time, and the year again. And it's because it's matching them on their home team. So this is Brazil, and then all the way over here, this one's Brazil. So that's how that worked. Okay, next one is query 3. This one is grouping them by their home team name, and then it's just getting the sum of all their home team goals. So just kind of what they're doing there, I guess. So query 3 is the total home goals a home team will have. So that's why we're grouping by the home team name, and then we're summing all their home team goals and then showing it. So as you can see here, home team name, some of their home team goals, Paraguay, Russia, and so on. 4 is how many times did a home team have more than 5 goals. So it first filters them by a home team that had greater than 5, and then it's grouping them by their name. So it's each home team, and then it's counting them, and then obviously showing them. Oh yeah, so here's the home team name, here's how many times. So Russia only had it once, Germany only had it twice, and so on. Query 5 is, just ignore the 5A, I was breaking it up into, so DF, we're filtering it by the home teams again, but this time we want England, so we only care about England. So we're looking at when England was at home and when England was away. So all of England's games, all of England's matches. Grouping them by year because we want to know by year England's total home and away goals. And then we're adding all their goals. So we end up with per year how many home goals England had and how many away goals they had. So in 1990 they performed better at, they had more goals at home than they did away, and so on. So that's what we can see with this. And actually it looks like most of the times they perform better at home than when away. This is my first RDD one query. It's fairly simple. It's just looking at the stadiums. So it's finding this specific stadium, and it looks at line 3, and I'll show you why if I can scroll right. So this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So stadium is represented by 3. So that's why we're looking at 3 there. And then, as you can see, this is how it gets printed out. So RDD isn't as clean as data frames. When you're printing and showing from a data frame, you get to see the headers, and it's nicely formatted, while RDD, when you just print it, it just spits out the string. And then the corresponding data frame query is just df stadium equals to that, and then show it. And like I said, it's cleaner with this one. So see, it has 2 of them again, and it's the correct stadium, but it's a lot easier to read this than it was to read the other printed stuff. And because I'm getting short on time, I'm just going to go over each really quick. So France is looking, well, I don't mean France. 2 is looking at France and Mexico, so it's getting France and Mexico. This is the RDD ones, by the way. This one is getting basically everything that is for USA, and it's sorting them by their most recent year. So if I scroll, you'll see this goes 2014, 2010, 2006, and this are all for USA. 4 is just grouping them by their year. Here it is. So this is just grouping them by their years right here. And then I didn't include it here, but I had a count too, because I was curious how many years there were. The 5th one is grouping them by their home team, and then count how many teams there are in total. So I print out the grouping, and then how many teams in total are 78. Then we're onto this one, which I already showed you how that one worked, which is right here. The next data frame one that corresponds to the RDD2 is the home team when we had France and Mexico. So obviously here's France, here's Mexico, only their games against each other. Query 3 is right here, so everything that is USA related, so USA here, USA here, USA here, USA here. So all the USA ones being ordered from greatest to least, obviously, because it starts at 2014, so most recent. Then next is, if I can get to it. Next is how many games per year, so here's how many games per year. And then lastly is going to be counting all the home teams. So here it is all the home teams and their counts. It doesn't give you the count, the number of each team. So what I mean by that is, I remember how I said there were 78 teams. This doesn't tell you how many are in total, and I couldn't figure out a way to count how many of these there are. So it will group them and then count each of them, but it won't group them and then count how many in total. So that was the difference I noticed between the RDD and the data frame query. And that's the entire lab, so I hope it all makes sense and is easy to understand and you could hear me. Have a good day, night, wherever you are.